Alright, so we're gonna be talking about Steve Krug's Don't Make Me Think, which is a book about web usability. So if you're not really into web design, this is pretty pointless. Well, anyway, it's the full title is Don't Make Me Think: A Common Sense Approach to Web Usability. So essentially, this book talks about it doesn't talk about programming on its own, obviously. It talks about the way you have to design a website. It talks about the approach that people have when using a website or the internet. And what it starts talking about, for example, is when you enter, say, I don't know, the official site for NASA or Amazon, you don't really go through the homepage reading it like a book. You just scan it, right? So you're not looking at individual elements, right? Looking specifically for what you are. You have a peripheral, I guess you call it peripheral vision of everything you can see at once. And in this way, you start creating like hierarchies of what seems to be more important, what the website is trying to tell you by the position of where stuff is. So if it's closer to top, it probably is more important. If it's bigger, obviously, it's going to be more important. And anything that sticks out in a way by, I don't know, using bright colors, animation stuff, that's also gonna define a role, or sorry, not a role, like a position within this hierarchy of information. And so depending on this, you can have a site that has the exact same information and have people have totally different ideas of what the site is gonna be, just on the way you display everything. So that's terribly important. Um, so another thing you start talking about, well, it goes in detail about specific things that work, you know. So for example, how tabs work on the top of a website where you usually have, you know, this information, this different subsections of the site that take you to other parts with more specific information. So that is important because of the two main ways people use websites, which is you either go to it blindly and you just start getting an idea from what the website is for, or you actually go to this website deliberately and have a specific purpose of something you want to find out, something you want to do within the website. So depending on these, you can have different approaches to the website, and you need to be able to take care of both of them on the way you design it. So the way you step in blindly is partly what I mentioned before about how you scan the website. So the home page, which is always going to be where you go on first, has to give you a good impression about what the website is for, and has to define what, for example, what the company is about, what is the main purpose, and it has to do all this without trying to lose your attention. So you can't have too much information. You can't have like deep paragraphs of specified stuff like oh well, you can go into this this site is about, and starts blabbering about. You can't have this because you're gonna lose people. You're just scanning, so you're going through the most important stuff. You need to define it in a way that you don't need to read it like a book, if you know what I'm trying to explain. And then there's the second approach, which is when you enter the website with a specific purpose in mind. Say if you went into NASA trying to find out, I don't know how many years it's gonna take for the sun to die. So the way the website has to be structured, it needs to have clear sections to where you can different what kind of information you're gonna have. So you can have information about um well, NASA's a pretty bad example. Let's use another one. Let's say Amazon. So you want to find out about I don't know, shipping prices. So you can have a section where you can have all the information about, say, different products you have. You can have sections about customer support, and you can have about I don't know, the inner workings of the site and how to actually use the site. these are all theoretical examples, so they don't actually apply. Don't try to at me on that. But anyway, so you need to be able to look at the site, right? And you need to be able to instinctively know where you have to go so that you can find the information you have, the information that you're looking for. So if you come in with the example that I said, you're looking for the pricing in shipment, you can say instinctively go to, say, a subsection that says, I don't know, um, help or configurations or something along those lines, and then you can have stuff where it gives you contact information, and then you can have I don't know, usability guide or something that gives you more information about the site on its own, right? So instinctively you're gonna be able to go there, and then maybe you're gonna find specifically like how pricings work within the site. Or you can go in, for example, wanting to buy I don't know, a keyboard. You want to have a black keyboard, so you can go into the product section, and because instinctively you think, oh well, keyboard, well, want to buy it, and it's actually going to be in the products, and you can go buy electronics because that's what a keyboard is. It's an electronic, and then you can go to computer accessories, and then you can go by color, and you want to buy a black keyboard. So you're not correlating this stuff specifically looking for the keyboard, because, well, obviously you do have to have a search bar to be able to find this information individually when you struggle too much, but you need to be able to find all this important stuff without having to think that much, without having to bust your brain just trying to figure out where in this labyrinth you're gonna find the information about keywords or about books or about mouses. So that's pretty important. And it also talks about how within the process of making a website, it really emphasizes a lot on usability tests, which essentially boils down to going to people and watching them use a site, and that way you can find problems. Say if you went to the say if you had a person using your site, and you just say, okay, I need you to find I don't know, find a specific object, and at some point the person doesn't find it and it gets lost, and they don't know how to return. They don't know how to go back to the home page, and instantly you think, oh, maybe I could have a tab on top. It took you right back to the home page. That way, when people browse, they know they can just go back, and there's no sense of urgency when you're shifting through information. And well, it also talks about the logistics of making user tests, because, well, I figured it's a pretty dated book, not by not by book standards, but by web usability, since technology does really shift pretty quickly. So since it was a book from the 2000s, if I'm not mistaken, it talked a lot about, say, the perceptions that people had over usability tests, and cost $1,000 with fancy equipment, and it wasn't really important, because nowadays you can just set up a laptop and record the screen and just stand by and maybe write on a notepad what the the important stuff that you figure out throughout the usability test. And it's about the important part. So it's a really good book, actually. It's about 180 pages long, so it's not really long. And on top of that is filled with images, so you can probably reduce that by like a third of how much text it has. So if you're when it comes to reading this book, if you are actually someone who is into web development and is not very into it, and doesn't and you struggling particularly on the design of a website, then it's really important, especially when you want to see the usability aspect of it, and you want to have sites that are really functional.